The big story for the day is that the trial within a trial is done, but not dusted, because judgment or the ruling, as Judge Rata calls it, has been reserved for Thursday. The trial within a trial is done. All arguments have been delivered. Ramosepele concluded his arguments today. Advocate Charles Munisi did not have anything to say except just one thing regarding the grounds for challenging the confessions coming from the debate that the judge had with Advocate Baloyi, because they were arguing amongst themselves, Advocate Baloyi and Judge Rata, that there's a lot of grounds for contesting these confessions that were not set out at the beginning of the trial within a trial. So Munisi said that's not material at all. You can come up with as many reasons as you wish that you did not communicate at the commencement of the trial within a trial, and the judge is required to consider that. And Judge Ratamukwatleng was in agreement with Charles Munisi on that one. There was no argument or debate about it. And then Advocate Zitulele Numalo, he said on behalf of accused number 4, he does not have anything to add. Zandile Mshololo said she submitted her heads of arguments and she stands by them. She didn't need to argue anything. And then as a result of all those, the interpreter was given the opportunity to interpret all those heads of arguments to the accused persons. And then after that, Judge Ratamukwatleng indicated that he will deliver the ruling on Thursday. And he emphasized that it will be a ruling, not a judgment. And just like the ruling on the recording, it can be revisited after having listened to the entire evidence in the main trial. So that's basically what he quoted. Some case law. Thank you, Tandiwe. He quoted some case law that supports his approach, and so one of the lawyers said the suspense is killing them, but they don't have any choice. We all don't have any choice. We have to wait until Thursday. Somebody's asking, Brother, how much did you pay for the haircut? I paid 50 rand. Is it worth it? Is it worth the 50 rand that I paid? So I must find another barber shop. Okay, guys, so I'm going to quickly summarize what Ramosepele, thank you guys. That's the point. I can confidently say people are not here for my cute face. People want to hear me where I'm sitting, so I can't be sitting on the fence. I can't be impartial. People are here for my views, not my looks, not my haircut. So yeah, let's summarize Ramosepele's arguments, guys. I think there's a general consensus amongst most of us that Ramosepele had better arguments than Mr. Ngomezulu. He tried, but Judge Ratamukwatleng was dismissive of a lot of things that he tried to argue. He addressed the issue of that grounds for challenging the confession, and the judge after that I think I missed about 10 or 15 minutes in between Ramosepele's submissions, but I caught up again when the judge was asking him whether was it factual that accused number 1 was arrested by 13 officers as he claims. And Ramosepele considered that no, it was not, as much as the evidence of accused number 1 is that there was 13 or many police officers around, only 3 arrested him, which is Sergeant Mohola, Constable Buthelezi, and Maphumulo. So that matter was settled. And then he also indicated that accused number 1 was tortured at Lethabong next to the municipal building and in Diepkloof. And Gininda's version that all that he spoke to Muzi about was that he's got reason to believe. Guluva, why are you swearing on this live? Honestly, really, you guys, you are trying us. Guluva, why are you swearing? I'm gonna give you the right of reply. Why are you swearing? Maybe you've got a reason. But please, we don't swear in this life, and I think we must have muted you at some stage. So seemingly you are very clear about your intentions. So Brenda, please look out for Guluva. If he provides reasons, I assess them. Whether they are justifiable, we can entertain him. If he doesn't provide any reason, please show him the way, because now we are being interrupted. Yes, we are civilized here. So Ramosepele argued that Gininda's version that he said to Muzi, I've got reason to believe that you are involved in SENZO MEYIWA's death. And Muzi immediately said, yes, it's suspicious, it cannot be possible. But I think Ramosepele is wrong here, because Gininda's testimony is that he told Muzi that he's got reasons to believe that he was involved in SENZO MEYIWA's death. But further to that, he said, I confronted him with the evidence that I have against him. So I think Ramosepele, I don't know if he forgot that part or he deliberately left it out. But if I remember Gininda's testimony very well, he said he confronted him with the evidence, meaning he told him that this is what I have amongst others against you. And after that conversation, Muzi indicated that he will confess. And remember, Muzi had already spoken to Sergeant Mohola already before Gininda arrived. And then he also went to the issue of handcuffs. He asked the court, thank you, the oracle, he asked the court to take judicial notice of the issue or the use of handcuffs as a means of torture. He argued that torture for Muzi started when he was handcuffed, and there's international law, there's international benchmarks that have been done that handcuffs can be or are another form of torture. But Judge Rata asked him a very simple question. Was that issue, was that version put to the state witnesses? And Ramosepele said no. And Judge Rata asked him, does the handcuffing, the torture around the handcuffing have anything to do with the confessions? Ramosepele said no. So that was for me, that was the end of that submission by Ramosepele. Because even if you can argue that the handcuffing was torture, he considered that that has nothing to do with the confessions. And then he also dealt with OB entries, that some of those entries cannot be true. The fact that they did not record the bruises that were caused by the handcuffs on Muzi Sibiya, which Colonel Mboto noted, it suggests that those OB entries cannot be trusted. and the court must reject them. And then he also said, accused number one's version, Musisibiya, thank you, the oracle, was that he was only tortured with a plastic. So Ramosepele was trying to justify the issue of no injuries. So he was sticking to the torture with plastic that doesn't leave any injury or any mark. And Judge Ratha again was wide awake. He reminded him that Muzi testified that he was tortured by 13 SAPS or EMPD members, and they were all kicking him with boots, so there ought to have been injuries. So again, this was Judge Ratha throwing out Ramosepele's attempts to try and just justify. And then Ramosepele mentioned that the only thing that could have proven the injuries would have been a J88. And Judge Ratha settled the issue that has been confusing some people, which we told people about very early after Colonel Mboto's evidence, that the issue of J88 in terms of the law only arises after a case would have been open. If you are assaulted, you open a case, and as part of the investigation, you get to be taken to a doctor, and a J88 is completed. So no case was open, no J88 was needed in terms of the law. So I think Ratha closed that issue again of the J88, which Ramosepele was trying to smuggle in. And then he also indicated that Gininda saying he cannot remember who called him. Remember when Gininda and Sergeant Mokola went to meet Sergeant Mohan and Mabena at Sibanye Stillwater after they had confirmed that Ntanzi was not at work, as he claimed when they were outside. Gininda told us that he spoke to accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi. Bongani Ntanzi denied, and then he left him. After some few minutes, one of the officers that were with him called him back, saying Ntanzi wants to speak. He said Gininda not remembering which officer called him back is an indication that he cannot be believed, he cannot be trusted. So that version as well, that accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi, initially denied, and Jigijigi he considered should be looked at with suspicion. He said it's suspicious, it's improbable. And then Judge Ratha asked if police are allowed to investigate cases for 48 hours. Ramosepele said there are standing orders, but he did not have a copy of those. So that issue just passed like that. And then there was also an issue around what happened on the 18th. Remember when Sergeant Mohan was asked why did they travel with Bongani Ntanzi for the whole day on the 18th, taking him back to the police station in the early hours of the morning. Mohan said Ntanzi said he was bored in the cells. So Ramosepele said that's unbelievable. Mohani forgot that AVL was gonna come and prove that the car was at the garage. So that's one thing that I found interesting. And then he argued that even when they were at the garage, if indeed that car was stuck, that Fortuna was stuck, they should have at least booked him at a nearby police station. There's Tembisa, there's what, there's a number of police stations around, thank you Itu, around that garage. So Ramosepele argued that they could have booked him at a nearby police station while the car was being looked after. And I found that to me, that makes sense. And Judge Ratha as well agreed that makes sense, but it only makes sense in hindsight. Now that we're talking about it, but it didn't occur probably to those guys at the time that they could do that. And Judge Rata made an example that police have got a funny way of doing things. Even when they had to go and confirm Muzi or Ntanzi's physical address, they had to drive all the way to KZN when they could have called somebody. Colonel, he made an example of Colonel Ngomezulu or Brigadier Ngomezulu in Kwanongoma. They could have called somebody but they chose not to call anybody and drive all the way. So he was making that example as how police sometimes do things differently than what is common cause to us. So I think Judge Rata was also saying to Ramosepele, that's not a big deal for me. And then when Ramosepele tried to touch on the issue of what happened on the 19th, the 18th actually, Judge Rata asked him, are you trying to retract what Ngomezulu has already said? Because it was like there's going to be a clash of arguments. So Judge Rata saved them again, he said. And then Ramosepele left the issue of the 18th. He went to the 19th. And he also indicated that it was interesting that they found ammunition. What a nice coincidence in Bongani Ntanzi's place in Phokeng after the cases were not enrolled during the day. And then there's something that I did not write properly here. He also touched on the issue of Dominic Njiako, that there was no mandate and he was just a passive lawyer. He confirmed that there was no debate, there was no dispute that he was an attorney, which some people somewhere in South Africa talked about a lot, that there's no mandate. There's no, he was not an attorney, he only qualified as an advocate in 2022. So the only contention for the defense was that there was no mandate and he was passive. And Judge Rata reminded Ramosepele of the multiple versions around the issue of Njiako, that initially it was said that he was not there and Jigi he was there. So Ramosepele again kept quiet and moved away from the issue. And then he also dealt with the issue of the OB entries in Phokeng. I don't know if it was Phokeng or Tlhabane, where Sergeant Mokhane, remember now, this was Sergeant Mokhane's testimony, where he testified that after they arrested Bongani Ntanzi for the second time for unlawful possession of ammunition, they took him to Phokeng again for processing. But they did not book him into the cells. That was the testimony. They just filled in the OB entries that he was charged, he was detained, and from there they left. And Mr. Ramosepele wanted to argue that that supports Ntanzi's version, that there were instances where he was not booked into the cells. Mokhane would just go and write and then take him to the back door. And again, Judge Rata reminded Ramosepele, he said, but me and you know that that detention was in transit. They were not intending to detain him there. They were just doing paperwork for the purpose of transferring him. So again, Judge Rata threw away that attempt by Ramosepele. And then Ramosepele also confirmed that the credentials of Mrs. Motlhaping were not in question. So the translation in that regard is not a big deal. And then we had Charles Mnisi saying he doesn't have anything to add except that issue of the grounds. And then Numalo as well had nothing to say. Mshololo as well had nothing to say. She had submitted her heads of arguments. She was stuck by them. And then we had Advocate George Baloyi in reply. He dealt with the issue of commissioned officers very quickly, that the law is very clear that all senior police officers, all commissioned members of the SAPS are ex officio justices of peace, and there's no need for the state to prove otherwise. And I think Judge was in agreement. Judge even brought the case law of state versus actually this was a judgment that was relied initially to by Mr. Ngomezulu, state versus Kogi. And Baloyi indicated that this was a judgment of this a single judge, and it was not binding on Ratamukwatleng. Yeah, and he indicated that the merits of that judgment and the merits of that matter and this matter are completely different. And then he also indicated that the requirements of section 35 subsection 5 of the Constitution have not been triggered because there's no evidence that was submitted to indicate that the rights of these guys in terms of torture were violated. And then he also dealt with the issue of the J50 warrant of arrest that Ngomezulu was trying to challenge, and he indicated that that matter was dealt with sufficiently by Brigadier Gininda, and that J50 was in relation. This is what we said at the beginning of the week, that this was in relation to a completely different matter, not the matter before Rata. And that case has been finalized. Muzi has been convicted. We know about that, and he has been sentenced. And then he also dealt with the contradictions that were coming from Muzi on the presence of the TRT versus contradicting submissions made by Ngomezulu. And then he closed with the issue of Muzi claiming that he reported torture to one of the officers at the Villeria police station. He said that is not supported by any evidence. He cannot recall who, when, why did he report to him. So he said Muzi basically gave nothing. So yeah, that's basically what transpired, guys, today. But the big news, obviously, is that judgment or the ruling, as Judge Ratamukwatleng emphasized, the ruling will be delivered on Thursday. I see Dineo says we are making history about tapping. Yes, I agree. Dineo, 154,000 likes. Thank you for that, guys. And thank you to all our gifters as well. Let me quickly acknowledge them. The Oracle, thank you. I am Simingenkosi, Mpho, Bongs, Karabopel, Tulane, Luyanda, Pilda, Motoko, and Mshiza Northwest. Thank you guys for those gifts. We really appreciate them. Please keep them coming. They do motivate us, and those likes, to stay here for as long as you want. When we don't get them, we tend to end the lives early because we think people are bored. But let me not go deep into that, lest I irritate TikTok. Okay, guys, I'm waiting for people to request. You can now start requesting to come and share your views. And remember, let me emphasize what I usually say when there's only 300 people. If there's anything that you feel that I did not say, feel free to come and remind us about it. If you think I said certain things the way they were not said, feel free, guys, to come and correct them. We are allowed to disagree. We are allowed to debate. There's nothing wrong with that. We are allowed to argue. But remember, the fundamental principle here is that we do that with respect to one another, guys. Don't try and come here to expose us. It won't work. We know what we are doing here. We know what we are talking about. We are following this trial. And when we come here to give information that is 99.9% accurate. Yes, there's that little bit, there could be that little bit of inaccuracy. We don't rule that out, and feel free to come and correct us. Sometimes we might think we've had things this way, until they were said the other way. So please, by all means, feel free to request and come and share your views. Don't come with a fight to come and try and expose us. We will debate with you, we will argue with you, and when we do that, we're not chasing you away. We are here for debates, we are here for constructive engagement, superior logic. Not when you lying, when you are misleading people, but then your title, your subject, it's not necessary. If you think my title is biased, just give us your side of the story. It's as simple as that. All right, flight captain, captain of flight 636 is in the cockpit. Official Minister Judge Rata says he's going to give a ruling on Thursday, and that ruling can be reviewed just like the recording. Bongani Ntanzi's recording, and people were unsettled with that. Good evening, my brother.
Good evening, my brother, and good evening, Mudivuwa, Teti, people have been missing you, my brother. You are coming on a very big day. And Pradeni,
Yes,
the reason I posted that video the other day, I knew Rata will quote it again.
yes,
And he quoted it word for word. It's not like I was saying to him, say it again. I knew he's going to say it again. And I'm still going to post it again, the same video for the second time again, when he's going to be quoting it before we go to the cinema. A day before going to the cinema, I'll post it. There is nothing wrong there, brother. The admissibility, it is for that moment, the decision that is made is temporary, brother. It can be reviewed like any other evidence that is brought before court. It
yes,
is not like what you say in a main trial, it is accepted as the end of the story. No, at the end of the trial, the judge looks at everything that was presented and make a decision. That is what he was saying.
yes,
And he is going to say the same thing when he plays the video. And he can still play the video, admit the confession, and at the end, something comes up and he makes a U turn. It is normal. It happens like that in each and every trial, especially when there is a trial within a trial. So people must never be worried. I think they must be very excited because we are going to hear the voice of Ntanzi in a recording soon. So there is nothing wrong there. Please, I am the captain of this flight. I'm not like Captain Smith. I'm not going to abandon you. When there are turbulences, I told you there is not going to be any turbulence from now on. What you will be asking is for me to increase the speed and the music to be loud and loud. But let's get to the before maybe I move there, Pradin. People are very angry, Pradin. I don't know why people have so much anger in them about this case. When all what we do here is share our opinions. Why must people be insulted based on their views. If you have a view, submit your view and substantiate on it and persuade others to move with you, rather than to insult people and all that. I mean, what kind of a society are we in where we cannot tolerate different views? I mean, if your view is different from mine, it's fine. But why must you insult or ridicule or whatever, shame, body shame, or that? Why must you do that instead of just submitting your view? It is really shocking how people engage. But let's move and let's not allow that to distract us. Last week, Friday, I said that reason Yamhane going around is a bit ridiculous. And I'm still saying it even today. For me, I don't think it was the best answer and it was just a joke, that particular answer. But let's move into the issues of today. Brother, you know, I always simplify matters, my brother. Rata tell Ramasipele that, Chief, you were fired. Why are you representing accused number one? You were fired. Ah, my lord, I'm unfireable. You were fired, Chief. What do you mean? I still represent Muzi, dark or blue. I represent him. I will continue and leave it to the court to decide what to do. That is what happened. But other than that, you see, Pratini, I am sitting here in a similar couch that Mjiako was sitting on, asking myself this question. Why did Ramasepele call Mgomezulu? I don't know. I really don't know. Because this guy has it in himself. I don't know why he doubted himself. How he let Ntanzi versus how he tried to do damage control today.
How he let Ntanzi
Ramasepele is capable. I mean, he should have done better. You are on mute, brother.
Please mute.
I really don't know why he panicked or why he thought he needed support, because I believe Ngaba adirile mmereko o mathege, mmereko motsi. He should have. He's got everything.
Yes.
Impressive.
Yes.
Well done, Ramasepele, for showing that capability, and I believe you could have done a better job. But I don't know why you make that decision. So let's move into a performer issue. Remember last week, Pradin, we asked a question to say, are the defense starting to concede that these guys took part into the confession or what?
Yes.
And it was not clear, but it came out today again.
Yes.
Because Ramasepele says in that performer, the answer that was supplied by Muzi in the performer, it was vague.
Yes.
Insinuating that Muzi provided that answer. When Muzi told us that he never participated in that interview and he doesn't even know what is written in that paper, Mboto was just writing on his own. He doesn't even know. No questions were asked when Sibande was saying, this question was asked and this is what you provided.
Yes.
Today we are told that the answer that Muzi provided is vague. When Muzi refused that particular answer to say it's not coming from him.
And Mboto ought to have probed him further on that answer.
Mboto, yeah, I mean, that was just a joke there, because he was insinuating that Mboto should have understood the merits of the case before him, because he was not there because of the drug case. But when you take a confession, You don't need to understand the merit of the case.
Yes.
So I don't know what was happening with Ramasepele there. But then there is a judgment, but the Bakane judgment. I think I'm mentioning this judgment for the fourth time now. I even gave it to Mutuzi the other day here to go and look at it. In that Bakani case, Braden, it was emphasized that there must be a clear connection established between a slapping and a rough handling and the confession statement provided by the accused, which means if I were to slap you and you make a confession and you cannot really link the link between the slapping and you making that confession. So I didn't coerce you into making a confession. We can argue other issues about assault and all that, but there must always be a link. That is what that case tells us, because as the defense didn't demonstrate this connection in that particular case, because in that particular case, some of those accused were slapped and roughly handled, but the defense failed to show this connection. And as the result, those confessions were admitted, because we can talk about the assault and argue on the issue of the assault, but now we are saying, is there a link between this and this? I'm not saying people must be assaulted and their rights be violated. They can still be argued based on the violation of rights. But in this case, that was a weak argument, and it finds itself in Ramasepele today, because Ramasepele wants to insinuate that he makes us ask this question that he argued today, to say, how does the swelling of arms relate to the confession made to Mboto? When he tries and answer that question, he says, no, they were softening their targets for later on, but he doesn't really put it, how do they link together? And the response he gives is similar to the response that was given into Bakane. So I won't be shocked if this confession, in any case, they are going to be admitted. That is very much clear. And there is a term that Baloyi used, Bradeni. He said something like "ste thesis." Hey, Latin. I don't know why they don't teach Latin in law school anymore, because other universities don't teach Latin anymore. Because what it means is just to say, stand by what was decided. This is what we talk about when we talk about precedents.
Yes.
It's simply that, because what does it do? It brings consistency in our justice system and predictability, knowing that this will happen if this happens. That's why I'm telling you that based on Bakane, this is going to happen, because I can predict based on that. Someone may argue that, no, you didn't interpret that right, that's why your prediction will be wrong. But if that is correct, then my prediction will be correct. So it is for that purpose within the legal system, nothing much. The Koki matter, it was just a comment, Pradeni.
Yes.
Like Baloyi said, we even said it on Friday to say it was a comment. On Friday, we discussed about it to say it was a comment. By the way, it was just a suggestion to say something like this can happen. But we asked the question again. Are they bringing Koki because they want to insinuate that these guys made confession? Because in Koki, the matter was the interpretation of what these guys were saying vis-a-vis what was interpreted on the paper. There are two different things. It was more about the authenticity or the dynamics of interpretation in terms of reliability and accuracy, Pradin.
Yes.
So are we saying in this case, these guys have made that statement and we are contesting the reliability and the accuracy of that statement? I don't know why this case finds itself in this matter before us. Unless if we are saying they made confessions, but they were not represented well. And this resonates with what Ramasipela was saying, because Ramasipela says the answer is not represented well.
Yes.
Which they seems to be saying these guys made the confessions, but
Yes.
the way they were represented, they needed an interpreter to be there.
Yes.
Clearly as that. Let's move to Mjiako. The Mjiako issue, Pradeni, they want us to believe that Mjiako never consulted. But the evidence before court says Mjiako consulted before he even asked, who is the prosecutor of this matter? To
Yes.
Kininda. Kininda
Yes.
said Baloi. And
Yes.
as the result, it was when the second confession was organized.
Yes.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this second confession if Mjiako didn't consult.
Yes.
So now they want to tell us that Mjiako didn't consult. The interesting point, Pradeni, second last point, is about 217. Baloi says the court must decide the admissibility based on the confession made in front of the magistrate guided by the 217. In that 217, the law mandates that if the confession is made before a magistrate, we said this last week, and recorded by them, or if it is affirmed and recorded in the presence of that particular magistrate, then written confession, Pradeni, without a doubt, when presented during legal proceedings, shall be considered admissible. But there are conditions that must be met first. The conditions entail verifying the identity of the confessor with the accused before court. That is verified, that is in Tanzi. Obtaining a certificate from the person who was interpreting, confirming the accurate interpretation of that confession. That is done and is not even contested by Ramasipela or the defense. Additionally, unless proven otherwise, the confession, Pradeni, is presumed to have been made voluntarily without coercion, in a lucid state of mind. And that is what Baloi was arguing, to say, even this guy, he said in his own ways that on that particular day, he was not even touched. So there's no question here. And that is what Baloi was arguing, to say, the rights of these guys were not violated. He also mentioned that the rights were not violated and that Section 35.5 was not triggered. This stipulates that the evidence acquired in a manner that violates any Bill of Rights must be excluded. And Baloi says this is not triggered because the rights of these accused were read in that particular room. And if the judge doubts that the rights were read, the application is going to be made for that recording in a main trial. You will hear that the rights were read. And then this is going to be admitted. The last point, which was the lesson, Pradeni. You know, after these proceedings, if you don't know some of the legal terms and some of the processes and procedures, Pradeni, it is obvious that you didn't want to learn. Baloi was teaching lessons today. Two legal three, they came and said, Baloi didn't prove, Baloi didn't bring the state, he didn't bring the certificate of these guys. We can see that the certificates were shown to the accused, but you didn't bring the
Official
it
Minister,
was said that they were not brought before court, but yeah.
Official Minister, you are breaking for the past 30 seconds.
Okay, I was saying Baloi was teaching some lessons to, the defense said Baloi failed to bring the certificates of the peace officers before court. And they might have been shown to the accused, but he didn't prove that those guys were peace officers. And then Advocate Baloi said, chill guys, I'm going to give you some lessons. Now, what is that lessons that we learned? Is that according to Section 4 of the Justice of the Peace and Commissioning Act, something like that, in conjunction with Schedule 2, Bradeni, it states clearly that commission officers of the South African Police Office are granted the status of the Justice of Peace and are thereby authorized to take confession. There is no need to submit their certificate, and Baloyi even mentioned some authority there. So, are these guys commissioned officers? Guys, these are colonels. These are colonels. Colonel Mboto, Colonel Khatebe, Colonel Rapadu. They are commissioned officers. Baloyi, you are teaching some very good lessons. You are cooking, my brother. And I am very much happy that come Thursday, we are going to hear the ruling. All what I'm waiting for now, Bradeni, is for that recording to be played and for justice to take its course so that we can move to the next stage of the trial and bring those who have ordered this hit to come and account. Thank you.
Thank you, Flight Captain. And as I conclude your submission, Official Minister, I think we need to be clear now, because this at the beginning of the week or last week, we were saying it would appear as if the defense now is changing their tune and they are accepting that these guys confessed. But after Ramosepele's submissions today, which you highlighted very nicely, that Ramosepele questioned the response that was given by Muzi, that Colonel Mboto should have explored further. That by itself closes that issue. It is clear now that there is a change of heart from the defense of accused number 1 and 2. Thank you, Tulani. There is now an acknowledgement, a full acknowledgement. We are no longer doubting that these guys are admitting that the confessions were indeed made. There's nothing that Mboto came with that confession prepared and said, if you don't sign this, these people will... That's a lie. That's a blue lie. Ramosepele today accepted that Muzi was engaging with Colonel Mboto. And one of the answers that he gave to Colonel Mboto, I think is question number 3, if I'm not mistaken, was vague. And Colonel Mboto should have explored that question even further. So let's close that issue. The confessions were made. There's no Mboto who came with a ready-made confession and said, if you don't sign, these people will continue to torture you. That issue is closed. For those who've got the ability to listen, there is this English saying that listening is a skill. I think more often than not, that saying is used when people want to ridicule each other or something. And I'm not using that to try and ridicule anyone. But you need to be able to listen very carefully to understand these things and come to these conclusions that we often come to, that other people are not able to make sense of. So yeah, it's over, blesser. It is over. It's game over. Somebody was asking what are the probabilities. We have consistently said, let me speak for myself. I'm 100% convinced that these confessions will be accepted. The probabilities for me are 100%. But if you push me and say you are taking a risk, Danny, you can't bet on 100%. I'm amenable to changing. I can change and say 90%, and that's where I stop. The probabilities of these confessions being accepted are 100%. If I have to compromise, it's 90%. We can debate about it. We can argue about it. There's nothing wrong with that. If we happen to be wrong, we will come back here like we always do. We will come back here and admit that we were wrong. We have been proven wrong. And as I'm saying this, Mpo, I don't know if you are here, or Mpo, if you are here, please come on board so that we can confirm if those two ships are still well fed. People have been asking about those ships on the comment section. Mpo, if you are around, please confirm if those two ships are been taken care of. If you are not here, I will text you, I will inbox you to remind you. But these confessions will be accepted, guys. Ramosepili tried to give us doubts, and he gave us some shots, but almost all those shots were dismissed by Ratamukhatli. Mudibuwa, also known as Mudibos. Good evening, Abuti.
Hey, good evening, Bradeni.
Before you continue, people are correcting me who have been saying ships. Apparently, it's not ships, it's a ship. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a ship, even if there are two. See this English Yako secondary school. So is it a ship, even if there's two of them?
No, that is an honorable man, brother, and he's going to make them two. Don't worry.
Yes. With the boats.
I think, what am I going to do?
Now we're talking about somebody else who made a bet.
Ah,
Yes.
okay. Bradeni,
Itara.
some people may think, good evening, official minister and everybody. Guys, I'm always around. Sometimes I employ this system or a professional attitude of simply listening and gathering all the information from people. Sometimes there is no need to come in and simply confirm what Braden is saying and to affirm what official minister is saying. However, also, uh, there are these TikTok posts that you guys sometimes show videos from the past. Sometimes you want to come into the live to come and show something that you know from the past in the trial within a trial. And then official minister will simply put a confirmation on TikTok, whether it is a contradiction, and then you say, there's no need to come in today. Official minister has already dealt with that. So that's what I've been doing. Again, sometimes I felt some of these other things which Bomgomezulu have been doing, recalling that useless guy whose evidence really has no bearing in the trial within a trial. I had no interest into that. I just saw some bitter police officer who maybe wanted to showcase that they did not agree on the docket and stuff like that, and that had nothing to do with the confessions. And Baloy did handle him very, very well, straight to the point. But Bradeni, yes, I saw a different character of Ramosepili. He was bold, his eyes sharp and big, and I've always thought maybe he does not have confidence in himself, or maybe not fluent, or Rata is intimidated. Maybe Rata intimidates him, or something. But today he was like, he was bold and he would push any boundary and he would stand a ground somewhere. It's just that there is this guy called Ratamukwatli and Bradeni and Captain. After listening again today to what Rata said about the ruling in the trial within a trial and saying it is relative and not final, it can be reviewed. again. And he said he's not making a judgment, but he's making a ruling. The same ruling he has made before on those videos with that little detour or a mini trial within a trial. I don't know what that was according to Mnisi. And when he said that, and in light of understanding that a trial within a trial, like they use the term, is compartmentalized. The things that are here cannot be said there, or the things that are there cannot come here. But the judge was saying today, we have a case. The issue here is a case of murder. Some of these detour, we get into them, we will make rulings, we will make orders in them, but at the end of the day, the judge will look at all these things, review even the ruling that he made there, where, to come to a final determinant of the fact in this case. And then I danced and said, yeah, we had a turbulence some time back on those videos. Now we are going to the main trial. Yes, we understand there was a ruling. But where you will have two people arguing on something, there is evidence that is somewhere which can simply answer every other thing that people are concerned about. And it is in that video. If you truly dispute and refute that these confessions were made by coercion and what have you, and that the rights were not read, and that Jacob was not there, or when you signed knowing that you were signing for taking a bath and making a call, and that you did not initialize your BS in front of the magistrate, well, that video is there. It's available and it's waiting for the perfect time. Now, lastly, Braden, I've been pondering upon what Rata is doing. And I don't know whether this is bad or good. But as for me, I would say I think most judges should be doing exactly what Rata is doing. And guys, we have had, I don't know, a million times in this court, an authority quoting what a judge is in a criminal case. We have heard he's not just this bystander or something, just an empire there. We have heard multiple times. But this is what I've come to understand about Rata. Like a researcher, Bradeni, you make a hypothesis. And when you make a hypothesis, you don't rush the facts. You don't rush for an answer. But you want all these facts to come along so that you may have a correct conclusion to your hypothesis. I have seen and I have decided to believe that Rata, even when he ruled against that video, Rata needed a benefit of a doubt. Because should that video have been played, we would not be having this discussion today. We would not be here today. There will be no judgment on Thursday. This thing, we would be cruising inside the main trial right now. But maybe, I'm saying, maybe it was good, Bradeni, that that ruling was out so that now we can come and hear the stories and the evidence that has been led immediately after that video was denied of the magistrate Kronje. And now we have heard, and Bontanzi have come, Bomuzi have come, in the trial within a trial. They cried if they had to cry, they were emotional where they were emotional. And it was for the state to prove its case, and Rata allowed that. With the absence of a video, let the state prove that these confessions were done free and fair. And Bradeni, you cannot convince me otherwise. These confessions were made free and fair. And I'm not naive to think that sometimes police cannot kick you a little bit in the angle here and there, push you around, try to squeeze something out of you. But with what Gininda said, and how he conducted this process, and having to engage your mbotos and your borapadus and the magistrate for these confessions, following what has to be followed. But then these guys confessed. Simple. They were not coerced. You cannot convince me otherwise. Well, for those who think Rata might do something with us or something, well, even if he does that, it's okay. It's not a problem. We will still go to the main trial. But on this one, trust me, I will still bet my money like any other person who bet somewhere. You were talking about betting on Thursday. And the addendum that he tried to bring here to show that has the state proven its case, whose honors were with them, which the honors were with. That's all that we needed to answer in this thing. And Baloyi has answered that question, Bradeni. Full stop. There's no other way. That's my submission, Bradeni. Let us go to the main case. And lastly, to my fellow friends and others, when we started here at 7:30, there were some saying, hey, okay, Kelly sold, SENZO, what, blah, blah, blah. We are not talking about Kelly here. No, leave Kelly alone. Miegeleni. Let us go to the main trial. And now let us go and read in detail these confessions. And remember, there were those things that were redacted. We don't know much about what is in these confessions. There were redactions that could not be read in court. In the main trial there, we are going to get all of that. Bogininda are going to come back again. Even the magistrate Kurunje is going to come again. They are there, these people. Thank you, Braden.
Thank you, Mudibos. And thank you guys for over 407,000 likes. I've been informed that today is a trial run for Thursday, so we are targeting 1 million in anticipation of the ruling on Thursday. So we are doing great, guys. 400K likes in an hour. That means by the end of the second hour, we should be close to over 800K likes. So let's continue with that energy, and thank you to all our gifters as well. Gifters. We really appreciate your support. People have been watching me with my hair and they did not tell me that it looks bad. Only after I've shaved my head people are excited. But you guys didn't tell me that my my hair made me look somehow, but I appreciate the feedback. Brenda, good evening.
Oh, Brady.
Askis. Okay, guys, Brenda is...
While Brenda is still gathering, Brazeni,
Yes.
you must rest and feel well, Brenda. But I just wanted to throw something, Brazeni. Take that opportunity and say, guys, do you remember that on the 20th of October, 2023, Mkomezulu, after he played that piano, he said to the magistrate, there was no presence of Mchiako in that room, and Tanzi was not represented. Then, however, now in their argument, they asked Ramasipela that question, and he dodged it, skillfully so. But now in their argument, they are not saying there was no Mchiako in that room. Remember when they said there was no Mchiako in that room and Ntanzi was not represented? It was fresh from listening to the video. They listened to the recording. They listened to the recordings for 3 hour plus. And then as fresh as they are from that video, Mgomezulu, after consulting with those guys, he came and told us that there was no Mchiako in that room. Even after they heard the voice of Mchiako in that room, they still said so. Now they are then coming and arguing a different point to say, no, in fact, Mchiako was present, but he was passive because he didn't represent Ntanzi. I mean, he was present and passive, but he was not in that room at some point. And on the same day, Ngomezulu said, it is my instruction that Ntanzi didn't sign any document or initialize any page, especially in front of you.
Yes.
This is said even after they heard in the recording when Ntanzi is given a pen by Motlapeng to say, here is a pen, sign. They still came before court and said he signed and he didn't sign or initialize any page, not in front of the magistrate. These are the legal the legal professionals, guys, who are helping the court to decide. Now the recording is going to be played. I want to hear from them. What will they be saying? He signed, but he was coerced. Now they are going to try to change that narrative. That is what I just wanted to put it clear, Prateni, that these things, they cannot coexist. You cannot say I'm not there and you are saying I'm there. You cannot say I signed and I didn't sign. That was my quick submission, Prateni, on that point, because
Yeah, they think we are playing Fafi.
China or Fafi, not at all.
We're not playing Fafi, and Judge Rata doesn't play Lot as well. So these people must take us serious. We're not here to play games. Okay, guys, I cannot see anyone on the queue. Our chief moderator is not well today, so she will just be sitting there. Askis Brenda, I've transmitted my flu to her, unfortunately. This flu is gonna kill us. Engineer says people said they are blocked. Who is blocked, engineer? We only block, guys. We only block people in this life for disrespecting our rules. Simple rules. Don't come here and swear at us, say vulgar things. That's the only time we block people. But we don't block people for disagreeing with us. And if you disagreed and we blocked you, probably that's a mistake. So we will unblock you if that is the case, but we don't just block people for disagreeing with us. We block people for disrespecting this platform, because one thing that we emphasize is that this is a platform for superior logic, guys. This is a platform for intellectual debates. We can't, when we are having intellectual debates, when you come and you start swearing at us, we are going to block you just for control, so that we maintain the order. Somebody says dot time is trying to request. Let me check dot time. So engineer, if there's anyone who wants to submit an appeal for being blocked, they are more than welcome to do so. You can act as their counsel. They can give you the names and we will review those blocking, guys. We don't just block people because people disagree with us. Otherwise, this life will not be what it is. This life, it is what it is today because of different, divergent views. We don't want one-way views. We want people to disagree with us. But remember, when you disagree with us, don't just expect us to say yes, yes. We're going to challenge you, and robustly so. So you have to be prepared. So when we challenge you, don't go out kicking and screaming, saying they blocked me. Awa, we don't work like that. Junior, good evening.
Honorable Denny,
How's it?
I'm very good, sir. How are you?
No stress, no complaints.
Official Minister, Sis Brenda, and
Hi, my
Morgan.
brother.
Thank you, man. It's the first time it's the second time I'm in here. I'm not carrying anything, any view other than wanting to thank you guys for intellectually unpacking this case, because whenever I'm listening people trying to unpack this case, they always have an interest on either side. It's either people want to say release and Tanzi. Tanzi has been the popular one. They see Tanzi as not guilty. They see Tanzi as a scapegoat, used as scapegoat in this. But I always know, even if I'm in the office, I always know that, you know what? I spare a moment from 7 o'clock till whatever time I get drowsy and sleep. I am listening to you guys. This afternoon, I tried to argue with somebody while this case was going on live. And I said, with my 2 cents understanding of this whole proceedings, do not think that you will win the case on closing arguments. This case was won on actual proceedings, this trial within a trial. That's why it was won. Somebody comes here to argue that, you know, when you said this, you know, when a lot of things that they say, you know this, you know that, it was never rebutted at the time it had to be rebutted. Now
Yes.
they are trying to waste our time, itching our ears for nothing. I'm so naive as I'm saying this, but I always know I'm going to get to this platform of you, Honorable Denny, and I will understand thoroughly as to what is happening. I love Mo Tusi. What is this? Mo Tusi, that guy. And I love Official Minister. Sir, you do your thing. I'm loving you all, guys. Keep up the good work. You are making us understand how the law goes. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Junior. Thank you. And one of those aspects, Junior, that were not challenged during the evidence, and there was an attempt to challenge it in arguments, came out today when Ramusipele argued that handcuffs were another form of torture. The mere fact that accused number 1 was bruised, that was torture. And Judge Ratamokwatleng asked him a simple question. Was this put to witnesses? Thank you. Was this version put to the state witnesses? And Ramosepele answered with honor, and I respect him for that. He said, no, my lord. Judge made a follow-up question. Does that, the manner in which he was lifted with his handcuffs when he was arrested, have anything to do with the confession? Ramosepele answered with honor again, said, no, my lord. And that was the end of it. Like you said, this case was won during the delivery of testimonies and evidence, not with the arguments. It is too late, too little, too late. Thank you once again. I know somebody will differ. As I was walking on the streets of TikTok today, coach.
Yeah, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to stop you right there.
I heard you, coach.
I'm going to stop you right there. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Evening. Tovela.
Yeah, I think I met Bradeni on the street somewhere, and I said, hey, Ratai has dribbled all of us here today. All of us. And he said something that, so profound that the ruling that he's going to give, he can, at the later stage, when he get or more evidence that can make him think otherwise. And I was telling other guys that say, hey, here I see 45, 55. Hey, it's close range. Yeah. To be honest, Baloyi being a smart person, I think he has made it difficult for the defense. If it wasn't just another prosecutor, I think I was gonna say the defense it's gonna be a walkover. Baloyi is knowledgeable. He knows the case study. From even Rata is referring to him now. If he wants to know something urgently, just go straight to Baloyi, and he knows he's gonna get the correct answer. But don't rule out also Ngomezulu, although they were fighting with a firearm that got only 3 bullets. But with those 3 bullets, hey, they can kill you with one of those 2 bullets. Difficult one. Where I'm standing, it can go either way. And to be honest, with the evidence before us, I'll take whatever decision Rata will take as things stand, because he has said that, prove me, give me a proof. He's saying, give me a proof, then I'll consider it. So now I think he has made a decision, and the decision that he has made, he said, let's continue. And I see a case that will have more interest, like more than before. But overall, Bradeni, people come here, claim to be neutral. There's no neutral here. No. It's either you in or you out.
Yes.
There is no neutral here.
No.
Yeah. We taking sides because of how we see things.
Yes.
But if you see, hey, no man, it's difficult. It is difficult. Where I'm standing now, I'm not convinced that where Rada goes. He has dribbled. He has made the Sheikh Kungwani a pass today. Even the teammate is lost. The opponent is lost. So, but let's hope. Thursdays are just around the corner. Now I accept anything that Rata will give. He has made it clear that convince me. And did the defense convince him enough? Whew, I'll say, hey, they said a lot of things. And out of the things that they've said, there are those that are true, and there are those that are not there. There's places that they mentioned they are not there. They are not on the AVL, they are not there. There are places that they mentioned they are on the AVL. So hence I'm saying Rata is not that convinced, but he'll tell us which side. But he's not saying I'm ruling it off. He's saying I'm still open to be confused, convinced through evidence, and I think that will be proper.
Yes.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks. So, Coach, you see what he said today. It's the same thing he said on the 20th of October, 2023. That is why I said, after hearing him saying that the decision that is made is temporary and it can be reviewed later, I made a decision that there is a chance that we are going to listen to that video, that recording. And I do believe that after he has if he makes a decision to admit these confessions on Thursday in the main trial, there is a high chance, in fact, I don't have a doubt that that recording can be played because it resonates exactly with all the authorities he was quoting, Muchintu and others. So hence I'm saying at some point I think that recording will be played.
I think for the benefit of justice, let that recording be played so that we can know where we're going, because we've got nothing to hide. Let the recording played. If we want to know the truth, actually.
Yes.
That's the truth that we want to know. And for him, for Rata bin Rata, he does not leave any stone unattended, one thing for sure.
Definitely, coach. I think it will be in the interest of justice more than anything. There's obviously high levels of curiosity from another section of society. But over and above that, honestly, it will be in the interest of justice that that recording be played. So we are confident he will review that. And I agree with you again when we say we are two opposite sides on this issue. There's no neutrality. There are those who believe in the state case, there are those who believe in the defense case, and it's perfectly acceptable. There's nothing wrong. People should not feel bad about taking a side on this issue. When lawyers go to court, they don't go there to be impartial. You must listen to senior counsels like Bodalimpofu. When he argues certain things, he argues as if that is the only existing law in the knowing very well that he's going to lose that case. But
Yes.
he argues passionately to an extent of even fighting with judges. And then the judge comes the next day, delivers their judgment, and they throw that argument out of court. So it's not, there's nothing wrong, guys.
No, there's nothing. And he packed the bags and laugh and shake hands and go home.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, coach.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tandolo too. Good evening, my brother.
Evening, Bradeni.
Tara.
Evening to official minister. Sis Brenda, I hope you get well soon. In prison, we used to have a concussion that is much stronger than officials one. But it would be dangerous to give you that because maybe you might not recover. It's recovery that we are concerned with. I'm happy, Bradeni. I'm happy because we are moving in the right direction. There was a song that the politician used to sing.
Just a second, Tandolo too. Just a second. Moody Boats, please mute.
Oh, I forgot to greet the listeners, everyone that is here, who is tapping, who is contributing by writing, to the rest of the family. Evening, guys. Sorry about that. Probably it's the excitement. But Danny, there was a song I'm trying to tell you about. Politicians really like this song. Hayasaba makwala, hayasaba makwala. That is where we are, Pradini. And when people fear, you must give them a level of comfort. You must bring them closer so that they too might see the light, because if those who do not have, I made this when official posted something earlier, that those who have medical aids must phone and make sure that their medical aids are active, because when Thursday comes, people are going to collapse, Pradini, and when they collapse, medical attention will be needed. Brada makes a statement, Pradini, and it's very powerful. And I've been trying to make this point, and I think he supports me on this one. Why did they not open a case if they were assaulted? And people are saying that no, the case needs to be open by the state. But if you are assaulted, it is your responsibility. You are the one that has been assaulted here. I go even further, Pradini. Okay, if this guy was assaulted and the police didn't give him a chance, the court was biased, whatever the case may be, no one wanted to listen to them. All right? If these people didn't want to listen to them, when you walk into a correctional services, Pradini, there are two files that are opened. That file is the one that carries your profile, states the reason why you are there, has a J7 warrant that says that you must be remanded, and therefore goes further to profile you. And then you have another file, which is your medical file. Every prisoner has a medical file. They call a sister when everyone, when people are coming from court, whether they are new, the ones that are returning, you know, when they enter into the reception, at the reception, that file, that medical file, there's a sister who comes and then will open a file for you if you are new, right? So Dante and Muzi were new. When they walked into a correctional services, here's your file. You get to be asked questions. One of the questions that you ask, were you assaulted by police officers? If there is a correctional service official that is here, someone needs to confirm this. If not, anyone can go and look it up. That question exists, Pradeni. Were you assaulted by police officers? Do you have any injuries on you? That means if this guy couldn't, if this police were too much for him, if the police were too much, if Ginindi had manipulated everyone, if he had manipulated the court, now we're at the correctional services. Now you get a chance to say that, but I've been assaulted and my arms, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? That they broke my arm. I was cuffed for so many hours. My hands were swollen. I was beaten up. My back is swollen. The reason they do this so that also they can understand what are your medical needs. These are part of the rights that Sis Brenda didn't understand at some point. These part of your rights. You have medical rights in prison. Those medical rights stipulates that if any injury because let's say, for example, you are bleeding from inside, then they admit you in prison. When you enter prison, you are sitting there sleeping and then you don't wake up. There is instances of such. There have been people who walked in prison because they were beaten up, because probably their head had knocked somewhere and then they don't wake up in the middle of the night. So to prevent those measures, Correctional Service has said it is necessary when someone walks in there that we do a medical checkup. So those checkup, you might look at it in the sense that maybe they are covering up for themselves so that if an incident does happen, so that they know that they have made certain inquiries. That inquiry was done on them. Why didn't they say that? Because if they were cuffed and then their hands were swollen, that means the head of center needs to intervene. Head of center needs to call back whoever. A head of center cannot admit anyone who is injured into his prison without him knowing about it, without him inquiring the reason of that person being injured. There were instances that I saw people, when police came to drop the people from court and the people were injured, head of center calls them back. Whoever came to drop them must come back and clarify, why is this guy like this? No, take him back. This is what they do. Take him back because you fall under the SAPS if you are remand, but you are still under the correctional services. Those police need to come and fetch you, and they need to go with you to the hospital, bring you back with a J88 that specifies why. That is why I keep asking this question. Why did these people, when they enter the correctional services, didn't mention this? If it was so severe, if it was so important to them, that if because now we could have had a record now. Call correctional services, bring the J88, bring the medical file, put it here. Then we'll say, when Michael entered on the 1st of June, he had 1, 2, 3, 4 injuries. We inquired, we sent him to hospital, and that is it. We don't have that today. Thank you, Plantin.
Thank you, Tandolo. Too. Let me get my Zulu at TM71. We assume that you are new in this life, and we're going to be a little bit patient with you. In this life, if you think somebody is misleading people, you request, you come here on the panel, you come and give us your proper information, your correct information. We debate it. So if you think anybody's misleading people, you request. If you write those things again, we will block you. The reason is simple. We are here for intellectual debate. We are not here to just make noise. So please request, justify what you are saying. Come and argue your point. Let's debate it. It's as simple as that. And in my days, Tandolo too, when I was still a shop steward, we used to sing this one. Irema gwala cheche. A chechele morago. Go ye rona ba dipelo tse thata ko pele. That's the song that I used to lead when I was a shop steward. Back then, I saw on the streets the other time, people were asking, is this Dini a lawyer? This question has been coming many times and I've answered it many times. And this week or last week, someone was asking, is this Dini a lawyer? And another one responded, no, he's not a lawyer. He's a shop steward. I'm not a shop steward now, guys. I was a shop steward 15 years ago. And I was not just a shop steward, just to add, next time when who was saying he's just a shop steward, just add that he was not just a shop steward, he was a chairperson of the Gauteng region of the Media Workers Association, MWASA. And he was also an NEC member. We must add these credentials. They are necessary. So yeah, when we were at those trade unions, that's what we used to sing. Irema gwala cheche, a cheche le morago, go ya rona ba pelo tse thata ko pele. Okay, guys, thank you for over 604 likes, 604,000 likes. Thank you, guys, and thank you to all our gifters. Let me quickly acknowledge our gifters who are on fire this evening. Tulani Shabangu, thank you at number 1. The Oracle at number 2, thank you. Nontle, Official Minister, Z, Gel, Mpo. Those are the top 5 gifters, guys. Please give them some attention as well. Those gifters, you know what to do. I can't spell it out for you. When we have time, when we take a break from double tapping, check all those gifters, guys, and do what is right by them. You know what to do. I can't spell it out. Mangi 500. Good evening.
Good evening, the Madekwana Watu, Official Minister. Good evening, Denny. Yeah, today proceedings went well. And then I just have one question that the panel can assist. And then I just forget to capture what exactly did Mr. Ramsipidi said. He mentioned about section 6 or something with 6. And then for the basis, they were talking about the disbanded of a unit. And then he mentioned that the unit can be disbanded. And then those are record state, which the state should have produced in order to can show all the recordings of what happened to those particular two accused in terms of the injury and reporting of the assault. Yeah, I think that was the first question which I wanted to pose. And then the second thing that I noticed is that it was more of a debate between Ramusipili and Judge Rata, where he will be saying something and Rata will interjecting. And then they went even as far as going to the record to say Ntanzi said, I know the police station because that's where I go for certifying of ID copies. But the question that I saw it was, why do they read the record in English? Because after the transcript, it has to be translated to English. Because if akhuluma isiZulu, he would have said, lapho e-police station leyo ngiyayazi ngoba ngilapho ngihamba ngiyenza ama-certified ID copy. There's still English words in between. So those are the things that I've just noticed today in the proceedings, to say those, I think the state, or not the state, but the judge was trying to run away from those factors. Thank you, Danny Manders.
Thank you, Mangi. Let me get this name properly before I call it Mufamatle. Good evening. Please unmute your microphone if you can hear me.
Oh, Bradeni,
Yes.
before I thought you were going to answer those questions.
Yeah, actually, I was undecided. I wasn't sure if I got them, but I wanted to ask if any one of you got them. Mufamatli, you can mute so long. My apologies. I think there were questions that were asked that we need to respond to, so my apologies. Official Minister, you can deal with them quickly.
I think on that one of the records of the state should be produced. The evidence before court is at that time they had issues as well with the pocketbooks because of funding issues. And even their boss came and considered to that, to say they didn't have pocketbooks. And Gomezulu even asked that, so because you didn't have pocketbooks, you didn't see a need of writing on a paper or something. But I think it was an addition as well to say, you can find our pocketbooks. They were given direction in terms of what they should do if those pocketbooks are required. But Ramsipela was right. Those pocketbooks, yes, they should be produced. And I think on the second point you asked, I think that relates to a point Rata said he had accused number 2 saying in English, not just one word, the whole sentence in English, saying he was going to that particular police station, he knows it, that's where he was certifying documents. It was not just only a word. He said he said the whole sentence, and from that point, it was a break time. He overheard him saying that, and that's when he said, "Chief, you know English," or because the way you said that particular sentence, it reflects that you are fluent with English. And I won't be shocked if he knows English, because we are made to believe in court. If this is true, I'm saying it under a qualification, because in court he said he didn't reach matric, but outside court we hear those who seem to know him much better saying he passed matric, he was looking for work at some particular point in time. But that's what the judge had, my friend. So he was just talking from what he had. I don't know, I was a bit confused as well when they read that particular line, to say, but it seems like this line is what was interpreted from Zulu. It's not what Ntanzi said or what the judge overheard. So I was a bit confused there as well.
No, we had that, and we'll find that record because I remember it as well. What he said, The question was around the issue of police stations. And his answer was that I don't know this police station. The only police station that you can ask me about that I know is Pukeng. So he started in Zulu. He said, Ipukeng yayazi, because that's where I certify my documents. So that's where I certify my documents. He said it in English. And that's where Atamukwatlen spotted it. But that was not the only incident that indicated that Bongani Ntanzi can hear English and he knows English. Remember, there was an incident that Rata observed that we didn't observe, where Advocate Zibanda asked a question, and before that question could be interpreted in Zulu, Bongani Ntanzi was already responding to that question. And immediately Rata stopped and asked, "Do you know English, sir? Because you responded before the question was interpreted." And Bongani Ntanzi did not say anything. So that one of certifying, he said it in English. He started in Zulu but concluded in English. And we will find that record. Probably by tomorrow, we can play it. Mofamatle, you can unmute your microphone again.
Good evening, Bradeni.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, official minister and Sis Brenda Tandolwetu and Skalo-san. I only have two questions that I need clarity on. If the team can just assist me with that, Bradeni.
Yes.
But the first one is I need to confirm what is the implication, because during the court proceedings, when the cross-examination was still in place, there was a time where it was mentioned that no two legal guys can do for one accused. So now, last week and today, Mngomezulu and Ramosepele has now submitted argument for both accused. What is the implication for that? Are those going to both be taken into account, or is the judge going to select just the one? That's the first question. And then the second one, I need to find out if during the cross-examination, the advocates or the attorneys didn't put a question or didn't challenge a submission by a witness, and they are now challenging that during the submissions now when the witness is not there. What is likely to happen to that? Is that going to be taken into account, or is that going to be discarded? Thank you. Those are my two questions.
Thank you, Mofamatle. Let's start with the first question. Judge Ratamukwatlen indicated that he's going to bend the rules because he does not want these defense guys to accuse him of being unfair to them. He told them this is unprocedural, but he will bend the rules, and he is allowed to do that. As a trial judge, the law says he is best placed to make certain decisions guided by what he observes. So I suspect he's going to consider both the arguments from Ngomezulu and Ramosepele. That's why when Ramosepele was about to contradict Ngomezulu, he stopped him. He asked him, "Are you about to contradict Ngomezulu or what?" And Ramosepele quickly moved away from that point when he wanted to talk about the torture of the 18th of June. So he is basically bending the rules. He told them because he doesn't want them to accuse him of being unfair. So chances are that he's going to consider both. And then with regard to the second question, we've dealt with this before. Mutusi, I think, has explained it. If he's still here, I will ask him to come and deal with the issue again. But simply put, if there is a version that is not put to a witness and that witness leaves without being given an opportunity to respond to that version, chances are that the version of the witness is likely to be accepted or be considered over that other version. It depends really. It's up to the presiding officer. If the new version that was never put to a witness is persuasive enough, I think the judge can still consider that. But procedurally, it is ideal that versions be put, even if it's not a complete version. The defense can simply say the accused will come and deny that version. The accused will come and give a they are not forced to disclose their version. So it is important that versions be put to witnesses that are contradicting so that the witnesses can deal with them. Because if not, and an example of that, a clear example of that came out today when Ramosepele wanted to argue that handcuffs are a form of torture. And when Muzi was handcuffed at arrest point, when he was arrested, that was some form of torture that was preparing him for a bigger torture. And Judge Ratamukhatling asked him, was that version put to the witnesses? And he said no, and that was the end of his argument. Because Rata asked another question. Does that have anything to do with the confession that took place later in the evening? Ramosepele said no. That was the end of his argument in that specific issue for me. So it is important that alternative or different versions be put to witnesses.
Thank you so much, Prademi. I think I will just maybe throw in the last, which is the contradicting statements between the accused in person and the accused submitting through their counsels.
Yes.
Which ones are likely to be considered by the judge? And that would be my last. And then I will listen from outside. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mufamata. I think this is my humble view, and it's not a legal opinion. I think he won't consider any of them because most of the versions that were put by counsel to state witnesses, in particular Ngomezulu, he was saying, it is my instructions that this happened. So that submission that it is my instructions to me simply means it is another version of the accused communicated through his counsel. So it's an instruction. The law recognizes that as a version of the accused. So when the accused comes and says something different from a version that he put to the court through his counsel, he's contradicting himself. So those versions, for me, they won't be considered, and it will boil down to accused's version being improbable, like Advocate Sibanda was arguing that the version of torture is improbable and it never happened. It was a manufactured story. So I don't think Rata will consider any of those versions. And he's already given us an indication of that when he asked Ramosepeli that you do still remember that there were contradicting versions regarding Mjiako. There was a version that said Mjiako was never there, and there was another version that said he was there. So I think when it comes to the versions of the accused, he's just going to say these guys cannot be believed. They contradicted themselves, and the versions of the state witnesses are probable and are believable. But that's just my view. All right, guys, thank you. We are making progress with our likes. 687,000 likes, like we usually do in our style. Let me quickly steal that moment. If we want, we can hit 700K in less than a minute. We've done this many times and we can do it again. So let's focus our hands on double tapping. And welcome, Skalosami. We are welcoming Skalosami with 700,000 likes. Our guest of honor. Skalosami, good evening.
Good evening, Pratini, Official Minister, Tandolwetu. I see that your CV, my guy, is pending. Yeah, you'll be full time. Yeah, Brenda. Anyway, you're not Brenda. How's Brenda? Hey, smile how yo. Hey, yeah, that smile. Ne? Hey, Pratini, it's good to see you.
Hey,
I know. You know what? I was worried, man, last week.
Yeah.
I was
Sure,
worried
Scalo, la rata
that
dilo tsa batho.
Hi. Utsho jwang no? Utsho jwang? Bafanas. Bafanas dlala kwa. Dlala kwa. Brenda ke colleague ya hao. Dlala fair. Ke dintho tsa rona tse. Wena dlala fair. Bratin, you know what? I was so worried last week.
Yeah.
I thought ku you know, and I know. I want to know you are healthy now. I was worried to hey. Brenda is she's the new host, you know. But hey, what? Hey,
You thought I was dying.
hi, at least no Shapile score, but we can see that you are alive, Hisham. I was one.
I wanted to do dreadlocks, Manish, but people were discouraging me.
No, but why don't you tell the guys that you 2014 you had dreadlocks? Why don't you just put we should say about 2014, Kadi 26, ukutile the dreadlocks, Kadi 27. Why can't you, and then only gold tooth? Why can't you tell, you know, the guest here, okay, no, after that thing, you know, you decided to cut your hair because of they were looking for someone with a gold tooth and also, you know, the dreadlocks, and you decided just to cut. You must just say that, Pratin. But Pratin, on the serious note, Pratin, the judgment, not Pratin, I've got the judgment.
Yes.
And I'm going to share the judgment.
Yes.
The judgment is simple. Those confessions, they won't be admissible here.
Yes.
And the gossip pattern, I've learned how gossip. But they always talk about the streets. I wonder if gossip is allowed in court. Uboni last week, advocate Balu, at least gossip aka in court. You know. So who are we to judge? But about least gossip, guys. If Baloi can bring gossip inside the court, so guys, it's on the record. It is a gossip, but we are not there. Let's talk about the judgment. So what's going to happen, Pratene? Those confessions, they won't be admissible. I can tell you now. If they will be, it's over one, but I doubt. Because if they're going to take those confessions, what they are saying is, police, whatever that you are doing, you must continue. Let's just think about it. Let's say those guys they are lying, but like this trial is broadcasted. It's going to promote the subs guys, they must continue torturing people. They must continue taking, forcing people to make confessions, forcing people to take statements. It's going to lead there. That is why, Prateni, this is not a judgment. This ruling, it's very important for South Africa. It's not important for Rona Areta the life or to listen to it's important because of it's a history in South Africa. That is why Judge Rata is very, very careful, and he didn't say, yeah, you know what, I'm making a ruling now, blah blah. He needs to think, he needs to get guidance, a correct guidance. And remember, Prateni, Mlambo is under investigation. Mlambo is under investigation, and the Rata reports to Mlambo. So we mustn't just say Ntwena is just Kintofela, whereas people they can just make the rulings.
Skalo Sami Mlambo is under investigation from who?
My sources, Prateni, I'm still busy leading investigations, but if because of I want to report, with something that is I want to give you a full report what he has done wrong, Molly. So I'll just give you a full story. But my sources, they are very, very comfortable, and soon Mlambo will be the court just to answer based on the wrongdoings. Sorry, my volume
And
is low.
how is the investigation against Rata going? Because I once came to your house and somebody was saying they are investigating Rata for paying 45,000 cash at the Mercedes-Benz dealership.
Not mine, Pratin. Not mine. Pratin, please don't bring my life into disrespect, please, Pratin. I say, please, not my life. No.
This was set in your life.
No, impossible, Pratin. Impossible. I wouldn't allow that gossip.
Yeah, disowning it now.
No, Pratin. I wouldn't allow that gossip. Go ahead, Pratin. You are bringing, this gossip in right now, and you're thinking,
Okay.
okay,
Let's continue.
Yes. So, Pratin, this ruling is not about SENZO. Let's just forget about SENZO. This ruling it's about the police and the suspects. Let's just Arbele case SENZO aside. It's about the suspects and the police, what the police did. And if we're not Pratin, you are saying no, you don't believe it. Mang Ari doesn't believe it, it's fine. But we know that torturing, it does happen.
One washing powder.
Please mute. Please mute. Sure, yeah, Prateni. So yeah, let's just wait for Thursday, Prateni. But I'll be celebrating,
Yeah.
Because I'm confident. That is why it's not long about SENZO. It's about Mabonisa.
Yeah.
And it's going to set precedent. If Judge Rata Are, these guys, they were not tortured, it's going to set precedent. And the judges, they are going to use that ruling. They're going to use that ruling, Rat. So it's very important. Thank you, Praten.
Thank you, Skalo Sami. Let me get my sound effect. And as you go away, Skalo Sami, just a quick correction. Judge Ratamukhatlen did not say he's still going to consult or get any guidance. He said he has read the evidence, that file, over 30,000 pages. He said he has read them. He has read the heads of arguments. The only thing that he's going to do in the next 2 days, he's going to consider the submissions, the arguments that were made in court. So he has already read the evidence. He's not going to consult with anyone. He's not going to get guidance from anyone. He's simply going to apply his mind to the arguments that were delivered today.
Pratin, what do you think of the arguments that the defense decided to put Kobaloi? What do you think? Were they good enough?
They were weak. Ngomezulu was all over. He submitted heads of arguments, but he did not read them into the record. At some stage, he forgot what he wanted to say. He avoided dealing with the versions of torture that were so detailed last year. But this time, he avoided them. He just moved quickly away from them. So Ngomezulu's arguments were very weak. Ramosepele attempted to rescue those arguments today, but it was difficult for him because Rata has read all those transcripts. Rata remembers the evidence, and Rata made his life difficult, but Ramosepele tried. All in all, for me, those arguments were weak. That's why even Ngumalom Shololo, the one who doesn't miss an opportunity to stand up and say something, they couldn't argue. They just submitted their heads, and that's it. I'm sure they were also scared of contradicting the many contradictions that are already in existence.
I just lost the train of thought, but Pratin, the I don't know what it's called, but he was reading something, the judge today, but it seems like someone decided to write whatever that was reading, because he was struggling to read. I'm not sure why. I think Kim Lambo, who decided to send him whatever that he sent him to read. Because how is it possible that you can't see your own handwriting? How is that possible?
He was not only reading what he wrote, he was reading from
Addendum, thank you.
the other documents that were before him as well.
No, Pateni, we'll talk on Thursday. Scalo Submarine, guys, please don't lose hope. We are about to land soon, guys. So please just be patient with me. Those confessions, they won't be admissible. And I'm going to join, and I'll be laughing at official minister. I'll be laughing at Prateni. And you are going to hear all the excuses that they're going to give you. You're going to hear all the excuses on Thursday. So guys, please trust Scalo Submarine. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Prateni, for the platform. Sharp.
All right, guys, we've just passed 744,000 likes. Thank you for that. I'm sure we are going to hit 800K in the next few minutes. I'm sure in less than 10 minutes, we will be there. Thank you, guys. And thank you to all our gifters. We really appreciate your support. Me too. Good evening.
Good evening, Pradeni. This guy who just spoke, whenever I hear people reasoning like that, my retort is always to say, if you're saying these people are innocent and the police are saying they made these confessions agreeing or confirming their participation in a crime, why don't you just say, Judge, read those things. They've got nothing to do with Ntanzi. He doesn't know them. He never signed anything. Sibiya never confessed. Ntanzi never confessed. What is in those things is hogwash. It's all Kininda's theories. But why do these people, to see that these people know that what they are supporting is wrong and is Konje, what was that thing, that term that Barkimang Kuku Mama talked about, that bias thing? You know, for them not to accept that is that bias that Kuku Mama was talking about.
Confirmation bias.
Yes, it's confirmation bias, Pradedi. Why shouldn't Danzi and Sibia be subjected to 4 months of a trial within a trial for something that they don't know about? Because they should have stood there and said, you know what, bring those confessions. You'll see all those things in those all what is written in those things is just hogwash. We know nothing about it, you know. But these people are saying, no, they are innocent, but don't read the confessions. No. You choose one. It's either you know they are guilty and they confessed, or the other way around. You don't have it both ways both ways in this instance. It's one. Okay. So the other thing, Bradeli, when the judge today said to Ramasipeli, I can't remember what he was arguing, and he said, but in one of your versions, you said this. That was very, 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 very telling from the judge to say, you guys have said a lot of things, you know, and they can't stick to one. When Mgomezulu comes, says his own thing, Sibia comes, understand, he says, no, ask Mgomezulu. Ntanzi comes, says, no, mini golang las. The next thing Mgomezulu says, Ntanzi saw a board written Albati. You know, so there has to be these people that are saying in Ntanzi, and somebody raised an important point to say, of all the accused, they are rallying against Ntanzi. They are rallying behind Ntanzi. Why? Guys, this is a phenomena like in the States. They've got a problem of people who follow serial killers. Like you'll get ladies writing them letters, visiting them in jail, you know, and even people giving them encouragement and whatever. Even these people that are shooting people in the malls in the States and in schools, and they've got followers. They've got followers. This is a new world problem. And this is also fueled by social media, where these horrific scenes are widely shared, you know. We share them, we WhatsApp them, we, you know, Twitter and all these things, you know. So even here in South Africa, it's taking root. It's taking root. Now, with this thing of Mgomezulu, sorry, Pradeni, before I forget, because I'm like Mgomezulu, I'm arguing from my head. So this issue of saying Baloyi brought up the Aka's, AKA's case into their arguments. Was it Baloyi or Mgomezulu? Who talked about Aka's case, AKA's case? Because I think it was Mgomezulu, because I was watching. Who was talking about
Baloyi
that?
started first.
Yes.
Is it? Oh,
I
no, I missed that.
Yeah, I think we need to be fair to Ngomezulu on this one. It's Baloyi who started it, and Ngomezulu was simply saying, Baloyi said this, and it cannot be right because it happened in KZN. And Judge Wanto was on top of him, so I think Judge Rata was unfair to Ngomezulu there. It's Baloyi who started it.
But that judge, even though he might be like Ausbrender when it comes to people's names, you know, he has been with Ramusipili and Ngomezulu and all of them for the past, I don't know how many months, but he still can't get their names right.
And I really feel for Ramusipili, it's unfair. I mean, Rata must get that surname right. And Rata Mukhatleng is Motswana. He's from Mafikeng, that guy. Or somewhere, I don't know. Okay, he says he grew up in Soweto. But I think he worked in Mafikeng High Court at some stage. So he cannot get a Tswana surname Ramosepele so incorrect. That's unfair.
And each time he does that, I just passed out laughing. But his memory, when it comes to the evidence in court,
Yes.
That guy is a retired judge. He's no longer a serving judge. He doesn't report to Mlambo.
Yes.
Each time he says something, he said, I consulted. He doesn't say, I was reporting to the judge. It's because he's retired. He's a retired judge. He has got all this time to focus on this case and nothing else. After this case, he goes back to his retirement. So these conspiracies, some of them are scary, Pradeni, but there are people who believe them. They've got a choice. Thank you, Pradeni.
Thank you. Me too.
Pradeni, to me too. Me too, my friend. If these guys, they didn't challenge those confessions, it will be the end. Even if they said, we don't know anything, but we can accept them, or we can allow them before court. Because once they allow them before court, it becomes detrimental to them. So they obviously challenging them, even if they may be believing that they were made without any coercion or influence. They are challenging them because they've got much impact in terms of determining their next move, or their guilty or not guilty verdicts. So they are protecting their rights, and I think they are within their right to challenge that, because it will be very bad for them.
Yes. And somebody asked on the comment section, what did Baloyi say about AKA? Baloyi was indicating that the strategy that was used by Brigadier Gininda and his team to profile these guys and check other existing cases against them and arrest them for those cases instead of the SENZO MEYIWA case is nothing new. That is a strategy that the police always use. And he argued that the same strategy was used in KZN in the latest case of AKA. Remember, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi told us that they profiled these guys who are suspects in the AKA matter. They found other cases that they were involved in, and they arrested them for those cases, but investigated them for the AKA matter as well. Because remember, Brigadier Bongani Gininda told us that there's nothing in law that says the police cannot arrest you for one thing and interrogate you on another thing. There's nothing. As long as those cases that they arrest you on are legitimate and they are existing case, there's absolutely nothing wrong. And he challenged the defense lawyers to show him any standing order or any legislation that says it's wrong, and none of them came to the challenge. So that's what Baloyi said, comparing the method of investigation in the AKA case and how they did it. And in actual fact, I think Mkhwanazi and his team could have learned from the cold case team how they did it. So yeah. Thank you guys for the 800,000 likes. Thank you for that. Thank you. It looks like
Pradeni.
just a second, me too.
Before I go, official minister, with what the defense is doing, I know they are protecting their clients by not wanting those confessions to be read, but I'm worried about the followers of Sibiya and Ntanzi. They cannot see that. That's the point I wanted to make. To say that's the reason why the defense is fighting for those confessions to be rejected, you know. But Bonadi are saying no. Those confessions, like their point is, it's like, okay, let me not insult people, Pradini. I respect your space. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Me too. Please remember that all the time, not to insult people. We try and conduct ourselves in that fashion. We only insult people by blocking them if they transgress our rules. As I was saying, guys, we've just passed over 800,000 likes, and I'm certain we're going to hit 1 million likes in the next remaining 35 minutes to 10. So let's do it. Let's do it. 34-ton tipper truck.
Pradeni, Mr. Official, Ms. Brenda, and the viewers and the rest of the team. Good evening. Pradeni, there's a clip, I think it was a clip from the judge, when the judge said to the defense that the time of when they were traveling, they were near the garage, and he asked the defense, yes, there was a garage, and in that garage there were people selling, holding bottles of gas, and there was a shop, and there were petrol attendants. And then he asked the defense, so when this police are busy beating up these the two people, no one saw nothing, it was just happening in the garage. And I just said, yeah, these ones. He just proved them that, your story is not valid. The guys were not beaten up at all. That's one of the point. The second point is the defense, as you emphasized, is too weak. Because yes, you can raise a point, but you must be able to back it up and prove it. Yes, they've raised issues regarding those statements, but they have no proof. They keep on saying they were beaten. Then there was doctors brought there. Nothing happened. Then they said, no, the statement were not signed. Then they bring, you see, they are too weak. That's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victor. Koko Mama Wawili, good evening.
Good evening, Bradeni. Yo, it's good to be home, but Ramudimu. Yo!
I don't know, Koko Mama, if we should talk about this or we should talk about it in private. But
we can talk about it in private, Mara. I want to say, I won't go deep, but I will say you warned us, Bradeni, don't galavant when we are done. Don't leave the streets alone. These streets, they are not good. Bradeni!
Let me say something without going too deep as well.
Yeah.
I heard your voice on Friday, and I was worried, extremely worried about your reputation. But I must say, you made a comeback the next day, and unfortunately, I could not follow your journey.
Hey, Bradeni Mara, you know what?
But the Saturday was beautiful.
12 hours, Bradeni Wangwa. 12 full hours. Hey, what told me do? Pindongbon.
Never say never.
And after that 12 hours, after that whole experience, guys.
Point of order.
That's a point of
Official, let
order.
me just
Point of
insert.
order.
Let me just
Point of
insert.
order.
That's a point of order.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Yes, you can make your submission.
I'm saying after this whole 3-4 days till today, I'm still looking for the point. I'm still looking for the actual thing that says this is what we are holding. I'm serious. I still don't have a say to say, oh, this is what is being asserted. You understand? Which is expected because this is actually my actual submission for today, Bradin. After listening to everything, to the closing arguments, the evidence in the trial, within the trial, and then up to today where it is the climax of everything. Bradeni, I think there is no reasonable person who has even the slightest understanding of any type of law who can reasonably want to expect Judge Rata to accept 5 different versions from the same person. We cannot reasonably expect Judge Rata to accept a version where a person is not even sure where exactly they were assaulted. You cannot expect Judge Rata to ignore the fact that you are not able to exactly say who it is that assaulted you. You cannot be able to expect Rata to ignore the fact that you have 5 different versions about the same legal representative. To say at first he did not exist, and then you don't know him. He might exist, but you don't know him. And then you know him, but you did not sign a mandate with him. Then yeah, maybe you had consulted with him, but he was passing. Okay, so then which one must the judge go with? Which one is it here? You understand? We cannot expect a judge to go and make a finding on versions that are on closing arguments that were not even put to witnesses on the stand. You understand? You are closing with things that you did not even argue in your evidence. We cannot expect the judge to ignore all of these things and come and say that your version is reasonably and possibly true. Which version is reasonably and possibly true? Because you have 10 versions now. At this point, we can count them. They're about 10. If now, let me say I owe Sis Brenda 500 rand, Bradin. Because I know I don't have that money, I must come to you. I start a story and I say, hey, Bradin, what's I was mugged. I had 1,000 rand on me, but I was mugged. I was in town and I was mugged. It was next to a shop, right? Then you meet official minister later on and you say, hey, Wadzwa, Kuku told me that she was mugged. She had 1,000 rand and they mugged her of 1,000, and she said, and then official minister says, yes, well, she told you also. She told me she was mugged in a taxi. How? In a taxi? She told me she was in town next to a shop, right? And then I tell Sis Brenda who I owe, and I say to her, hey, Shwata, I was mugged my card. You know, some people swiped my card and they took out 500 in there. Now it's no longer 1,000. Now it's no longer 200. Now it's 500 that was swiped in a card or whatever. Which version? What are you guys going to start thinking about my story? You understand? It was not going to make sense. It is not going to make sense at all. And another thing that I want to submit, Pradeni, if there's anyone who is saying that the defense has a plausible case that is reasonably and possibly true, if we were going to isolate that very case of the assault, and take it out of this trial and take it out of wherever. And we take that same case and we go and we give it to IPID and we say, IPID, these people are saying they were assaulted. Do they think that case is going to be prosecuted successfully in a court? Because what is it that you are going to actually argue? Who assaulted you? When were you assaulted? How many times were you assaulted? By who? What were your injuries? You cannot say, you cannot show, you cannot prove. If it cannot be prosecuted in isolation, all by itself, then we cannot be expected to believe that this version is reasonably and possibly true. That is all I have to say, Bradin.
Thank you, Koko Mama. I agree with you 100%. You are spot on as usual.
Pradeni,
Yes, official minister.
when we were at school,
Yes.
I was staying in a residence called Men's Residence.
Yes.
I was a raider there. So having a girlfriend was a topic of the day. So if you didn't have a girlfriend, it was killer. Some of us who didn't have girlfriend, we used to say, no, I have a girlfriend back at home. And then when I get good that thing, they say, where's your girlfriend? No, man, I have a girlfriend back at school. So these are two different versions. So some ended concluding that you must be having a girlfriend somewhere along the freeway because that thing, you have a girlfriend at school. When you're at school, the version change, you have a girlfriend, good that thing. So there's no girlfriend. Because your story doesn't add. We don't take any version because they don't add up. They change depending on where you are. So this is Ntansi's version. Chiako was in that room, Chiako was not in that room. So why must we even consider that Ntansi is telling us the truth? We rather believe others who are consistent. I mean, who are consistent is Jonathan. Jonathan said, yes, Mchiako went inside. Magistrate said Mchiako was there. The interpreter says Mchiako was there. Moran says Mchiako was there. So we rather believe them because they corroborate each other. They were there together. So why must we believe in Tansi? But it's no longer an issue to say Mchiako was not there. The issue now is Mchiako didn't pull up his socks. He didn't have the edge from Vet. So as the result, he represented him in a poor manner. So they must take him to task. We expect a different action from them. We have seen via for that LPC, they take their job very seriously. Let's hope they report him there so that we can come and discuss his case here.
Yes. Thank you, official minister. Okay, guys, we have just passed 873,000 likes on our way to 1 million likes. I'm definitely sure 900,000 likes is gonna come in the next 3 minutes. Let me not contaminate that any further. You know what to do, guys. Let me see if there's anyone on the queue. Me too. Do you want to say something? I see you unmuted. Me too. Okay, I think he unmuted by mistake. Let me quickly remove you guys so that I can give space to some people. Yeah, no, that's Struggle, official minister of varsity and home. I know it very well. I was one of those that used to say, no, my girlfriend is at home. And when I get home, My girlfriend is at school. But at school, it was worse because I used to frustrate my friends because I was friends with some very beautiful girls. So they would get angry that you are friends with these girls, but you're not doing anything to them. What's wrong with you?
You're closing channels.
Yes, because I was friends with these beautiful girls that they couldn't get to and they did not understand though. How does this guy become friends with these girls, but nothing is cookie? Mutuala, good evening.
Even Madenzo
Hey, Tara.
and Nas. Yeah, man, I've been to court some other time, and then I know how difficult is it to be prosecuted, to be asked questions, and so on.
Yes.
When I was talking some times ago, and then I could hear that no, man, I'm taking a tangent. Then I told the magistrate, no, sorry for these submissions that I've actually said. And then because I could see that I'm incriminating myself. So it's quite very difficult when you are a spectator in court and you hear some people giving different statements and so on, which are not consistent.
Yes.
At some point, you might find that the person was right and it was true, but because of fear, he wants to change the statement to something else. But he's not aware that he gives doubt and then
Please
the
mute.
court will not trust what he's saying. But sometimes you find that he's genuinely telling the truth, but because of fear of being going to jail or something like that, he tried to change statements in order to play safe. So it is very important to actually think and sympathize with people who present statements, witness in court. Thanks, Madenzo.
Thank you, Mutuala. Thank you, guys. 914,000 likes. We definitely hitting 1 million before 10 o'clock, and we will continue until probably 11 o'clock tonight. Hachi from Kwambeto ya Jiga. Good evening.
Zanzi, Zanzi.
Okay, somebody's disturbing Hachi with a call. Let's give him a few seconds.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Hachi.
It's Hatch here from Essence, Kwampetu ya Chika.
Good evening.
Before I say anything, the people from Kwampetu ya Chika have asked Official Minister Bradenis Brenda. They listen to you guys. When you come here, please acknowledge the people from Kwampetu ya Chika. When you go on your closing remarks, say thank you to the people of Kwampetu ya Chika because they love this platform.
Yes.
Please, these people are very important.
We shall do so.
Thank you. Pradeni Matakoko says it very well. Out of all these versions, which one must we take? Which one is correct? None of the above.
Yes.
An experienced judge who practiced for more than 30 years as a legal practitioner, Rata Mkhwatling, was appointed in 2007, if I'm not mistaken, for full appointment at the High Court. A capable judge, a former student of Forte, former Orlando Pirates player, is about to make a landmark judgment on Thursday. Now, there was one colleague here, or a fellow listener, who said he will make 2 ships available for us to pry
Yes.
if this confession are accepted.
Yes.
I want to say to that guy, please come back. That time is close, and I hope you did feed those ram, because I will be there. I will drive from here, Kwambedu Yachiga, to a braai, wherever it is. And there was another guy who used to come here and argue strongly about this defense case. No, there's nothing like this. I wonder where he is. I forgot his name. You used to like to fight with him. I just forgot his name, man. I wonder where he is today. Those are my submissions. Patiently, I will request on Thursday,
Yes.
after the landmark judgment. I'll be sitting here, Kwambedu Yachik, not going anywhere. People from Kwambedu Yachika, they're saying, I must say, good night to everyone. They will keep listening.
Thank you, Hachi from Kwambeto Jiga. And we appreciate people from Kwambeto Jiga as well for being a bigger part of this life.
Bradeni,
People across the whole of South Africa. Yes, Hachi.
Bradeni, before I forget, people of Kwambedu Yachika, they said, I must appreciate the contribution of Thando Lwethu. They even said, there is a lady called Berita. She sings nice and says, Thando lwethu, ndakwenzani na, Thando lwethu. Aye. Bye-bye, Braden. Thando lwethu, they appreciate you here, Kwambedu Yachik.
Thank you, Tandolwe. Thank you, Hachi from Kwambeto Jiga. Tandolwe too, you are appreciated, my brother.
Thanks, Boot.
You see, Fradeni, the day we are going to enjoy those 2 ships,
Yes.
I think we are going to be entertained.
Yes.
There is no doubt. Haji and I know people from Kwampe to Yachiga, they can sing as well.
Yes.
We will hear about the stories of girlfriends as well.
Thank you, Hachi. 954,000 likes in the back, 1 million loading in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you, guys. Kumbra, you can unmute your microphone, and good evening.
Good evening, Bradeni. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thanks. Evening to everyone on the panel. All protocols observed. So, Bradeni, I just want to be quick. I do have a question. So, we just hear on the defense case that Mujiako didn't have the mandate to represent the client, but we just saw Ramos Sipili being fired 2-3 days along the line. So we do see him again representing the very same client whom he was fired from representing him. So, in other words, they want to create doubt that Mujiako was maybe representing the client out of his will, not getting exactly the mandate from the client. But what do we take out of Ramusipele representing the client who that fired him. So I don't get it right there. Can you please help maybe? I think that's all, Brady.
Can you repeat the question again, Kumbra? What do we help you with?
Oh, I'm saying they are saying Mijiako didn't have the mandate to represent the accused. I think it's in Tanzi.
Yes.
So we see that now Ramusipili got fired by, I think it's Muzi.
Yes.
Some few hours back. Then now it still goes to court and represent Muzi. So I'm asking to say these people, they're trying to create doubt that Mujiako didn't have a mandate. Then where does Ramosipili get the mandate to represent somebody who fired him few hours ago?
We don't know. Unfortunately, I missed judge's interaction with him on that issue. But it is clear, guys. Last week it was reported that accused number one, Muzisi Bia, has terminated the services of Sipora Mosepele and has appointed Mr. Ngomezulu on a private basis. So Ramosepele's mandate was terminated by accused number one. That is a fact. And legal aid confirmed that fact, and Ramosepele also came to court, I think on Monday, informing the court that legal aid has requested him to place it on record that that termination was not done in good faith. Remember, I used those Latin words, bona fide and mala fide. It was not done in bona fide, which is in good faith. So it's a fact. Ramosepele's mandate was terminated. I just need to listen to the engagement that he had with Chatra Tamwatling, but I missed it. Yes,
Ratha told Ramasipele that you were fired. Exactly like that. You were fired. And Ramasipele said, I am unfireable, my lord. You can decide what you can. And then he said, but you are representing that accused. He said, yes, I am representing that accused. I'm leaving it to the court to see what it can do with this evidence. I mean, with this representation. Or these arguments on behalf of number two. The judge said it. What is it that you are doing? And Ramasipele said, I leave it to the court to decide what to do with this representation. So the bottom line, what Kumbra is saying is, you have a situation where you are claiming that Mujiako was not ethical because he represented somebody without a mandate. But here you are fired, you don't have a mandate. Mkomezulu got a mandate, but you are representing, you are making arguments on behalf of that particular person. And you are saying it is up to the court to make a decision or to make out of what to do with those arguments. So he's saying, what then? What are you arguing or what are you trying to show? Because he was, okay, I almost used a different, a certain term, but when you are persisting, Prateni, it's not stubborn. I mean, I don't know what term to use, but judge told him that you are fired, but Ramsipele still persisted that I am going to make this, I'm going to argue on behalf of that person. And then it is up to you to decide what to do.
Thank you. Thank you for that background, Official Minister. Now I'm fully updated. And on that note, guys, we are celebrating 1 million likes. Well done, guys. Thank you. Dineo Machila, you are a star. Thank you, guys. We've done it once again. This is a common occurrence. If you are here for the first time, we are used to doing 2 million likes when we like. sometimes when the people in this house, like they can even hit 2 million. So we usually stop the live at 10, but because people are energetic, people are on fire, this is a night vigil. For Thursday, we can push, guys, we can push until 10:30. If 10:30 people still want to talk, we can push up until 11. But let's see how it goes. Official minister.
Prateni, somebody from Gombe to Yachika has assisted me with a right a word to use. He was adamant.
Yes.
Yes, I love people from Gombe to Yachika. Ramosipele was adamant.
Yes.
That he's going to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you guys once again for 1 million likes. Let's continue with that same energy, guys. Remember, after 1 million, that second digit does not update until it reaches 100K. So we won't see the likes up until it's 1.1. So just continue double tapping on that energy until we see 1.1 M. That number will not update until it gets to 100K. Okay, I think somebody's coming on the panel, or Me Too is back. Me Too.
Thanks, Pradeni. I forgot to ask. I think I heard the judge saying when he makes that ruling on Thursday, he's going to take into account the evidence that was led in the main trial. So I thought I didn't hear correctly. So, yeah, I wanted to ask, did somebody hear that as well? And because I thought maybe he was going to use the evidence that was provided only in the trial within a trial to make his ruling. But
No.
yeah, but maybe I might have heard him incorrectly. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I think he said it differently. He said he's going to provisionally not admit, I'm being forward. He's going to make a ruling which can be reviewed at a later stage. The final ruling he will only make after having listened to evidence that is yet to come in the main trial. Not so basically, he was saying he's going to look at the evidence in its totality, and that's only then he can make the final judgment. Not that he's going to consider what has already been said. He said there can still be evidence led in the main trial that can convince him otherwise. So I think that's how I heard him, but official minister can add, and other colleagues, Tandoloti, if you heard him differently.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. Admitting the confession is just allowing for the trial to go on with confessions submitted as evidence before court. However, at the end of the trial, when he makes a judgment, he's going to look at every piece of mosaic to say, are those confessions, was the decision made at that particular point in time the right decision? And then do I consider them in making my my judgment, my final judgment? Because you can imagine, even in this trial, within a trial, people were talking about girlfriends, sleeping, and all that. Rata is not going to consider that. It is something before him, but when he makes judgment, that thing has. I mean, when he makes the ruling, those things have nothing to do with a trial within a trial. And even at the end of the trial, he will look that are these confessions helpful in making the final judgment, or considering them, does it help this case in any way, taking every other thing that can taint that particular judgment into consideration or aid it, and then make final decision.
Yes. I clarified me too.
Thank you. No, yeah, clarify. Thank you. Because I was wondering why would he do that, you know? But
Yes.
yeah, you have explained it. Thank you.
Hey, Tada. SH, good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, Tada.
I want to know what will be the difference in the main trial if both confessions are admitted in comparison to one confession admitted and the other one is not admitted. Will Baloyi be happy if in a case where one confession is admitted and the other one is not?
Actually, that's a difficult question, SH, but I think he will be happy if one is admitted, especially with Bongani Ntanzi. Bongani Ntanzi made 2 confessions. So let's say, for argument's sake, Rapadu's confession is not accepted for whatever reason. Baloyi should still be
Then before you go on, let's say Ntanzi's one is not admitted, but all of them, both of them, remember there are 2, but Sibia ones is admitted.
I don't think that will make him happy, because Ntanzi's one, from what we understand, is the one that has got more details. I think Sibia simply said, I was there, but I was outside. Ntanzi is the one who was inside. And I simply went to the traditional doctor, Baba Zwane. So I doubt if he will be happy, but those are probabilities that are highly unlikely. For Ntanzi's confessions, I think if there is any little chance that one might not be accepted, it could be Rapadu's. But Magistrate Kronje's confession is flawless. I don't see any reason that will make Rata not to admit it. It's flawless, that one.
Yes, I think
if I hear you,
you spot on there, Pradeni, because if you look, music will sit with those guys.
Yes.
Ntanzi has never been close to them, but they do talk during break times and all that.
Yes.
But he always keep his distance because he's the one who spilled the beans. Muzi was just a little bit. The
Yes.
Ntanzi one is the one that goes more into detail, even to the point of who pulled the trigger. Thank you.
I mean, Rapadu's confession, the only little thing that could potentially see Rapadu's confession maybe not being admitted was the issue of the handcuffs. The fact that he admitted that he saw some bruises. But that issue was thrown out today when Rata asked Ramosepele, was that put to state witnesses? And Ramosepele said no. And he asked him again, does that have anything to do with the confession that was taken in the evening? Ramosepele said no. And for me, again, that was the end of any slight possibility of that confession not being admitted. There's nothing. And when Ramosepele came again and said, question number 3 was vague, the answer to that was vague, that was an admission that that confession was made by Muzi. So all those loopholes, guys, have been closed. They are locked. But if you talk about Magistrate Kronje, you cannot talk about that confession without mentioning that it is flawless. There was no torture that happened in the morning before Ntanzi went to see Magistrate Kronje. And Ngomezulu tried to sneak in a lie by saying Magistrate Kronje was intimidated by the SWAT team. And the evidence, official minister posted that video. Magistrate Kronje said the opposite. She was not intimidated by those guys. She just remarked they were heavily armed. And tied to that question, he said they were simply doing their job. That's what they do every day. So there's nothing. Kronje's confession is flawless. But even the flaws that existed in Rapadu's confessions have been closed. SH,
Yabo.
are you answered?
Yeah. Yabo.
Hey, Tada.
Okay.
Yeah, Pradeni, if people want to know who pulled the trigger, because they have been asking for this question to say, no
Yes.
one in the house knows who pulled the trigger.
Yes.
The confession of accused number 2 will tell us who pulled the trigger. Muzi doesn't know he was outside.
Yes.
Inside, it was accused number 2 and accused number 3. On who pulled the trigger between them, it is in the confession.
Yes.
And in the recording.
Yes. And Muzi initially from the statement of Brigadier Gininda that Ngomezulu forced him to read into the record against Baloi's objection, Muzi tried to mislead the police because when they asked him who was inside, he mentioned a different name of somebody who was there, who wasn't there. But Ntanzi came to give us the most accurate information. So it would be very nice to listen to those confessions.
Yeah, it will be very nice to have that one, Pradeni, because people have been making noise about revolver and doing that.
Yes.
That confession will tell us how many guns were in there,
Yes.
and if there was a revolver, who was having that revolver,
Yes.
and all those questions. I think after those confessions and the recording, the mood will change. You know that. That interview where one politician was asked what was the mood in the meeting. He said the mood was the mood of the meeting. So it was the mood of the meeting. So the mood will obviously change nationally, and those who are still persistent that that recording is AI generated, they will be on their own. But I think that's one real evidence that is going to change many people's mind.
Yes, definitely. All right, guys, I'm trying to check on the panel. I do not see anyone on the queue. So I guess it's safe to say we have exhausted the issues for the evening. Ordinarily, I would have suggested that let's take a break tomorrow and Thursday. But I know people always want to meet, and when we don't meet, people end up getting lost in the street, and sometimes I blame myself for that. So tomorrow is Tuesday. I don't know, should we take a break tomorrow or
Yeah,
take
I
a
think
break Wednesday?
we can come on Wednesday, Pradeni, as a night
Yes.
vigil.
Yes.
For Thursday, and then Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, let's take a break tomorrow, guys, and we will come back Wednesday to have a night vigil for Thursday. We should have a lot to talk about on Wednesday, even though there was nothing in court. So, yeah, I will download this live immediately when we stop here. This will give me a chance to download it. And I think today or tomorrow, depending on how quick am I able to download it, I can immediately put it on YouTube. I'm not going to break it down. Usually I prefer to break it down in two parts, but that takes time with the software that I'm using to edit, unless if I'm technologically challenged. That takes time for me to do that. So I will download it, guys, and try to put it on YouTube today, latest tomorrow. I see Millicent is requesting. I don't know if it's a mistake or Millicent just want to quickly say something. Let's quickly check if Millicent wants to tell us something quick. Millicent. Millicent. Okay, I think Millicent requested by mistake. Let's do this.
Yeah, it might be a mistake, but
Yeah.
Pradeni and
Yes.
everyone else, today it was a very good day, and I think even the people we love, base mpetu ya jika, sanze mpetu ya jika, they had a very good day, and thank you.
Yes.
Let's meet on Wednesday in our night vigil. And those who wants to do crossover, because I can see crossover is trending on the comments. Those who wants to do crossover, is up to you guys. You can cross over to the other side, but Tina, we are done here. Thank you.
Done and dusted. Thank you, official minister, and good night, Brenda. You don't have to respond. Thank you for being with us, even though you are not well. Good night. Hopefully, you will get better soon. Alternatively, we will fly this flight 636 and bring you some medication that side. But get well soon. My sister, Tandolo too. Closing shots.
I'm satisfied, Bradini, as I said.
Yeah.
Good night to everyone.
Hey, tada.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you. Brenda says tomorrow is her birthday. Brenda. Okay, I guess we may come here tomorrow just to celebrate Brenda's birthday. We just decided that we will take a break tomorrow, but we can come here, guys, at 7 p.m. to celebrate Brenda's birthday and have a quick chat. Let's see. Kukumama says we can come for today. Oh, Brenda says let's take a break. Okay. We will celebrate the belated birthday on Wednesday then. Thank you. Thank you, my brr. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you to everybody who participated on the comment section, on the panel. 1 million, over 1 million likes. I'm sure that number must have changed by now. It could be sitting on 1.1, but it's not updating because sometimes it takes very slow to update once it jumps a million. So thank you for all those likes, guys. We really appreciate your support. People from Kwambetuya Jiga, thank you for supporting this live. And to all our gifters, let me quickly see if they are still here. Tulani Shabangu, thank you, thank you, thank you. The Oracle, thank you. Official Minister, thank you, my brother. Z-Girl, Paul Bongs 12, King Mo, Aaron, thank you. Sibongiseni Gwala. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate your support.